press continues to be a thorn in the side for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, with this week's pile-on from the esteemed Hollywood Reporter that validates the bullying claims from Buckingham Palace. Over 12 former employees of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex have been confirmed to contribute to a scathing report from the Hollywood Bible of reporting, not only highlighting the hostile work environment that's been created by the Duchess, but underscoring a theme that we see often in modern feminism. And we're talking about that today. So, is Meghan Markle simply a bully, or does modern Hollywood culture have anything to do with it? Today I'm exploring the latest nail in the coffin for Meghan Markle's career, examining the role of the press and feminism in this downfall. Hi, I'm Hannah. Welcome to The Swish, where we explore classical femininity and royal trends, traditions, and lifestyles for an elegant and inspired life. Can you do something for me real quick? Before we get started, I want to have a place where I can share with you all the latest news and updates. And so I've created an Instagram just for us. It's at The Swish Magazine. Please go down, click the link in the description, and subscribe. Follow me on there. It's a great place to know what's going on in my perspective. Sneak peeks, behind the scenes, clips, all before I bring it here to YouTube. I'd love to see you over there. Thank you guys so much. All right, so last week, the Hollywood Reporter released a really scathing report on the Duke and Duchess of Sussex titled, "Why Hollywood Keeps Quitting Harry and Meghan." And this isn't the first time they've been called out by the Hollywood Reporter. Just in 2023, they were named 2023's biggest losers by this outlet. So this is definitely not a favorite of duo. And it had really scathing lines about the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. It called her a dictator in high heels. It said that they don't know how to make decisions, that she is terrible. The Duke and Duchess released a statement a few days later saying that they were very saddened by this report, that it was a disgruntled employee who was just getting something off their backs, and that they have done more work than ever over the last year. However, in a rare move, the Hollywood Reporter decided to respond to their statement, and they said that actually they interviewed over a dozen people who were from their team, at one time or another worked in a high position for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, including a member of staff who currently works for them. It was a scathing response, an amazing response by the editor-in-chief of the Hollywood Reporter, which is a rare effort to make. Now, I cannot imagine what's going on in Montecito right now. Can you imagine being in that Slack channel with everyone and having those conversations, trying to figure out who talked to the Hollywood Reporter? No wonder their turnover rate is so high. No wonder that their last chief of staff only lasted 3 months. They say that this was because of a trial period, but I think we can tell by the pattern here what's really going on. It's also very clear why they haven't made any significant progress on any type of actual project over the last year. They don't have the team or the infrastructure to get things off the ground. Now, the topic of bullying is at the center of this report, and this is something that Meghan herself actually addressed during her Archetypes podcast, that short-lived show she did with Spotify in 2022. She had about 8 episodes. It seemed that every single episode was directed at some sort of response to an accusation that she had. You know, the words diva, the B word, being difficult. And this is something that she really spoke to. It seemed like she was addressing this problem because the title of Duchess Difficult has followed her around Buckingham Palace. And at the time, they spun it like it was just rumors, but clearly that's not the case anymore. We can see why Buckingham Palace is in the right. Just a reminder, you guys, until October 1st, if you want to get something, get your crown jewels from Luisa Diamonds, the amazing royal family approved diamond company. It's a sustainable lab-grown diamond. It's not CZ. It's an amazing molecular development that are luxurious diamonds. If you decide you want to get something maybe for Christmas coming up, you can order it now and get a lucky star ring. It's absolutely beautiful. Look at those stars. It is an amazing piece of jewelry, and Ana Lucia does a wonderful job, especially in our circles. So you can also get 20% off of your entire order with code SWISH20, and that's how you can get a free diamond ring. It's an amazing offer. Look how cute. I also love how patriotic it is. People keep commenting on that. See, wow, that's so patriotic. So if you're here in America, this election coming up, a great little piece to add to your crown jewels. So make sure to go check them out in the link in the description. Use code SWISH20. Now, when Meghan discussed the topic of difficult on her Archetypes podcast, she was talking about the importance of women using boundaries and how this was her response, that she needed to not be quiet, she could still assert herself, and it was okay to have those kinds of names. This is actually something that we hear modern feminism talk about a lot. The importance of taking up space, having your voice heard, challenging the narrative. It's something that is kind of becoming old in our culture, and I think this is one of the reasons that Meghan Markle is so hard to work for. Meghan Markle has always been inspired by Emma Watson, and Emma Watson gave a speech at the UN many years ago called He for She. And the crux of this thesis was that we women need to be able to stand up to men, we need to be able to assert ourselves and make space for womanhood, and that men and women are equal. That's 100% true. However, people like Meghan Markle here, which is a perfect example, they like to assert themselves in ways that are not graceful. And herein lies the problem. It's okay for women to take up space and to be loud, but it doesn't need to be obnoxious. And this is where Meghan Markle is really faltering. It's okay for her to be a boss and a CEO. We live in a culture that feeds this type of self-aggrandizing, self-confident mantras. We hear women all the time say that we just need to use our voice. That's something that Meghan Markle herself has said about her own daughter, who's 3 years old. They simply march around like a dictator in heels, as we see with Meghan Markle here, wanting to be the boss, wanting to drive their own power, and it's not at all effective. This message that women are hearing from celebrities to mainstream media, that women just need to assert themselves and be who they are, is not actually powerful. And I think Meghan Markle's beginning to see that. Now, of course, there's other problems with Meghan. She's, of course, a narcissist to some degree, I would argue. She's a bully. But that's usually where these types of women and these types of themes end up. Meghan is a kid from LA. She's been raised her whole life believing that she just needs to use her voice and that people will follow her. But that's not effective leadership, nor is that effective femininity. One of the Sussex Survivor Club members in this interview mentions that she has brought grown men to tears. And I genuinely wonder if this is something that Meghan Markle has prided herself in, that she likes the fact that she can stand up to men and make them cry. This is not what effective femininity looks like. This is not the way that you leave a legacy for yourself. And my assumption here from reading this is that she's trying so hard to be the boss babe lifestyle that we've seen over the last few decades. And that's really failing. We see that the lifestyle of a boss babe is just deteriorating before our eyes. That lifestyle is tiring, it's ineffective, and as women, we're wired differently. So that's not at all helpful to Meghan Markle. Being able to make a grown man cry is the mark of effectiveness for many modern feminists. But this actually is not at all what Meghan's probably wanting. And here's why I think we see this so drastically in Meghan Markle. We see this type of ideology all throughout the world, all kinds of celebrities. But it's very rare that we see the juxtaposition so clearly between Meghan Markle, who had the greatest opportunity in the world to join a traditional family and institution that's been around for decades and centuries that values deep-rooted things, and then she squandered it all to be an autonomous creature, to Princess Catherine. And I know that comparison is hard, but she has been given so much as well entering this family, and she has embraced tradition, she's embraced beauty, she's embraced timeless values. And we see that juxtaposition like never before. So Meghan's a prime example of this because she's so closely tied to something that is so beautiful and elegant, and she's decided to take on this modern feminist lifestyle. Princess Catherine is an amazing enigma of classical femininity, and looking at the two, we can see exactly where their worldviews have led them. Now, Meghan has said for a long time, she even said in her Harry and Meghan Netflix documentary, that these allegations of bullying were all rumors from the palace. The palace actually started an investigation after so many of their staffers started leaving, after so many were reporting horrible things, and especially after Valentine Lowe's book came out. They started an investigation, they came to a conclusion, and then they didn't release any of the results. And I think this is because they actually, believe it or not, they're protecting their daughter-in-law from dealing with this and this pushback. It would look bad for them if they had decided to expose her in this way, and it also looked bad for them if there was bullying going on in their palace. Here's the problem with the press. Harry and Meghan can critique it all that they want, but they actually don't get anything out of just censoring everybody's news. They can release a statement saying how saddened they are and that this is a disgruntled employee, but they cannot control the truth. And that's what seems to be happening all over the world right now. Harry and Meghan are frustrated by the fact that people like you and me who have Instagram accounts, have Twitter, they can simply share their voices, we can share our perspectives and share the facts and look at the raw data. Harry and Meghan have the same opportunity to give their commentary, give their feedback, share the framework of what actually is happening here, but they can't control the mainstream news. And of course, the tabloids are going to say whatever they want. We shouldn't always trust the tabloids, but by going after the Hollywood Reporter like this, they aren't actually helping in any way. We also know that them saying that they have sources like this may actually just be them. Over last weekend, Prince Harry celebrated his 40th birthday party, and he reached out to People magazine, which is a strange outlet. It's one that they've used a lot, but it's a very, very gossipy magazine. And initially, the article about Harry's birthday mentioned that he was going to be celebrating with his friends, his family is his greatest blessing. He loves being a dad, which, those are all great things. However, they made a correction just a little while later to say that it wasn't just an email from Harry himself. Maybe actually this response to the Hollywood Reporter is from Harry and Meghan themselves. They are crafting things, talking about her email signatures, talking about how she emails at 5 a.m. and why she does that. I think this is actually coming from them themselves, and they are definitely on their back foot. So it definitely makes us question who are their anonymous sources moving forward, because it's likely coming from the horse's mouth. Now we can expect to see Prince Harry back in London, September 30th for the Well Child Awards. This is a patronage that he has been a part of for years and years. It's a really great charity. This actually was why he was in the UK 2 years ago when the Queen sadly passed away. It turned out to be an amazing blessing that she passed away at that time when Harry was in the country. Otherwise, things might have been very different. But this is the annual event that he comes to every year. And for some reason, Well Child has been backing him continually. I think Harry's in a tough spot. I really want to do a video on what I think that Harry and Meghan should have done, what they could still do, maybe to make it back. I don't know that they necessarily could. But unfortunately, as the Hollywood Reporter article argues, Harry is a charming person. Yes, he's an enabler, they say. I think that just means that he goes on with Meghan's attacks. He doesn't stand up for the staff against her, and he makes it possible for her to treat her people like that. So I think, unfortunately, if you look at his life, that's how he's been. His whole life, he's been the baby of the family. He lost his mother at a young age, and so he's looking for anything that's going to bring him solace. And so I think that it would be incredible for Harry to return home. Reports are that he's very, very lonely. And I do hope that maybe he can have an opportunity to go see his father. He can realize what he's missed out on. And as many people are saying, this relationship is very likely to end in divorce, which unfortunately, when you're married to someone who's very much a modern feminist like this, that's often how it winds up. This too is often why you see classically feminine women relying on really strong men. This is something that Harry could learn from his brother on. If we look at the Prince and Princess of Wales, they rely on each other, they support each other, they have their own passions and influences, but they're very different and they have their own worlds, but they support one another 100%. This is not at all what we see with Harry and Meghan. It's a great example of how a relationship can go terribly, unfortunately. Please let me know what you think about this article in the comments below and what you think about my take on it all. Also, click below and make sure that you can get your diamond ring by October 1st. Just go and use the code SWISH20. Also, don't forget to go follow me on my new Instagram, where I'm sharing all the behind the scenes, all of my research. That's on Instagram at The Swish Magazine. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.